Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to GG Speedrun's coverage of the Super Smash TV Normal Summer League Championship, hosted generously right here on GG Speedruns by Mr. Dino. And we are very happy to be here again. I am Prince Leaf, going to be going through this coverage with you today. And with me in the comms booth once again is the legendary Jackamus Wedge. How you doing, man?
Oh, Leaf, I am slightly aroused today at the prospect of this race. We got CHX on the left, Aquas on the right. This is going to be a total barn burner, and I can't wait to get this thing started.
It's like, absolutely. And CHX was the only person to lose on his season to Aquas this whole entire league. He lost by a margin of 4 seconds, and he's going to be looking to get revenge on that match. And this is a very important one. This is a semifinal match. The winner of this one will move on to the final game, a 3-game series to become the champion of the normal summer league. And with that, $200 cash prize plus a $75 voucher to CHX's store. So definitely want to get that prize money, and lots of big money prizes in the cards for this one. But this match, the loser of this one goes down to the placement match of 3rd and 4th place. So not out of the tournament just yet, just out of the running for becoming the champion. But this is not a lose or go home situation for either of these players, and this is going to be a good matchup. I'm going to go ahead and get them started. And Jackamus, why don't you go ahead and give them some banter?
Banter, banter. I have a decanter. While I like to banter. Banter, banter, banter. It's going to be a race. It's going to be really good. I'm excited, and I hope all you folks are excited too.
All right, I have counted them down. We should be getting going here shortly.
Excellent. My body is ready.
And my body's ready also. There's a difference of 37 seconds between both of these players' PBs, so it's definitely going to be a slugfest. As usual, Aqua's supporting the player 2 strategy, something that Jackamus would absolutely love. CHX going with the player 1 strategy, and both getting their manipulations going right away.
Razor shield in hand, gun locked and loaded. It's time to smash some televisions.
Of the CRT variety, because that's the best way to play this one. Unfortunately, we don't want you doing that because they're kind of rare and kind of pricey nowadays to get. Not rare, but pricey. So the whole shot belongs to Aquas, who is out with about a half a second over CHX. But as always with Smash TV, the first room is irrelevant as opposed to the rest of the run. Because right now in Arena 1, the first room, well, I was about to say the first room. It's the second room. Collect power-ups. The orb is the most important item that you want, and Aquas gets it on the first drop. So what a very lucky for the underdog on this one.
Well, in the room itself, first drop rockets is actually better to get out of this room quicker than an orb, believe it or not. But you would really like to have the orb earlier. It's going to be about complete dead even, about a 119 apiece going into Eat My Shrapnel. More rockets for CHX, gotta love that.
I was kind of coughing in the background. So CHX is riding a lot of lucky power-ups, so it's keeping him in this, but still no orb on his side. Just lucky for Aquas, he's going to hold on to it a little more consistently. But yeah, he is making very good use of those rockets. If you were precisely using those rockets, like tapping it on each room, maybe 2 per door, a whole magazine can get you pretty far into each and every room of the first arena.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be the end of the room for both. No orb for CHX yet, unfortunately, and this is the point in Arena 1 where the lack of the orb will really start to feel it. Razor shield for both, CHX losing his right away to a unfortunately placed Shrapnel dude.
Yeah, the Shrapnel dude just absorbs every single bit of the Razor shield. It takes like 5 hits for the Shrapnel to actually die, but every hit on a Shrapnel takes a Razor shield away. So I believe it shreds the entire Razor shield on one Shrapnel.
Yeah, it does. Really not something you want to run into with the Razor shield there. Aqua's sitting very pretty here in Total Carnage. It still has the Razor shield healthy, has rockets. There's some more rockets for Aquas because why not? So RNG definitely favoring Aquas in the very, very early going of this marathon normal race.
255 time, even an easy percent, that would be a very good time. A normal percent, it's even better. Yeah, CHX still not getting an orb on his side. I don't think he's going to see a swirl of shame in this category because he's just pretty good at what he does. But this is just very unfortunate. It is underwhelming the favorite on this one. Like the Rich is getting richer on Aquas' side. He is the underdog, being very favorable in the drops this time.
Yeah, it's about a 20-second advantage for Aquas right now going into tank trouble. And Aquas is going to just try to dance around, focus on the swarmers. That is the fastest way to get through the room, and is able to dance over to the Razor Shield so it can get set up now. There's rockets at the bottom, but need to get rid of the Razor Shield to get those because they're too close to the bottom, but no avenue for Aquas, so going to have to play without. CHX gets a first drop orb after taking out one of the gunners with his remaining rockets, so he's set up pretty nicely here in tank trouble as well.
Yeah, that's a very much needed addition for CHX at this point. I mean, Aquas, he's a very good player, so CHX probably already thinking he's behind because he hasn't had an orb. But Aquas playing tank trouble very, very well. He's going to get out of here with about a 4:13 right now. That's a very good easy percent time as well. Very good entry time for normal also. CHX is going to need to cover some ground, but obviously, we got RNG Mutoid Man to, maybe stir it up a little bit here because that's one spreader drop and CHX is right back in this game.
Yeah, CHX gained about 4 seconds back in tank trouble. Just some really good dancing in the middle with that orb. Kept it the entire way as soon as he got it. Really good room.
So Aquas unfortunately wasn't able to get the ball buster. So if CHX gets the ball buster on this one, I think we're actually going to be pretty much even after that if he is able to get it. He might unfortunately he opted to go for the spreader exploit. So and then he gets an invulnerability to boot, but he has not very much magazine left with that one. And another one, and it's just like the game knows he had a spreader, but now he doesn't. So we've got an arm pop on Aquas Society. He has no arms. We have about a 1 form difference between our two racers at the moment. And I say that the arm...
It's about dead even there. Aquas wasn't able to get some shots off for a bit there due to the death, so they're pretty much even here. And CHX is going to pull ahead here, pop the chest first. Spreader for CHX, but did not see what the drop was quick enough. This time he'll be able to take advantage. There's a spreader on the wrong side for Aquas. CHX is going to pull ahead by a significant amount here with this spreader.
Yeah, that's unfortunate sometimes, but then there's a player 2 spreader on CHX's side. So there's just that time, like when you're playing as player 1 or player 2, because I've dabbled on both. I've had drops in player 1.
Picking favorites. There's a big spreader for Aquas to keep this thing close.
And CHX is going to pull ahead, almost getting a sub 6 time. That's very good on normal. That would actually be a time I think he would go on to the next arena with, but normally CHX is looking for sub 6s before he gets out of the arena 1.
Yeah, 601, really hard to argue with that. Very, very strong opening arena. And
so Aquas
is going to be around 625, 626 or so. So Aquas went from being 20 seconds ahead after Total Carnage to 25 behind at the end of the arena. That's how quick the leads can swing in Super Smash TV.
Absolutely. It's like Utah Man was just very harsh towards Aquas. I do see in the chat that someone was asking if it was a best of 5. No. Normal percent's a little bit of a long category, so we don't want to torture our participants by making them play more than 1 game. So the only time we're going to play more than 1 game is the final, and that is a best of 3. And it's not going to be an all-in-one stream.
Yeah, normal, a much different beast. You have to do all 3 arenas, not just the opening one. And the 2 arenas after the first one are much much longer. On average, most of our racers finishing right around a bit above the 44-minute mark or so.
And a general best of 7, if it goes the distance, would take about an hour's time. So roughly it's about the same amount of Smash TV crammed into 1 session as a normal 1 run would do.
Exactly, Leaf.
So we're not saying a whole lot about this.
Great use of the nuke to end the room there.
So we weren't saying a whole lot about this room, but it's actually a timed room. So no matter what our players could have done, they can only lose time, can't gain any time. But as long as they keep their consistent fire on these turtle chunks, they won't lose any time. But CHX is into film at 11. It's another semi-timed room here, which starts with the canisters. But most important about this room is that you want an orb here, because this can be, well, as I say it, there it is. In this room, you can get an orb. In the next room, you cannot get an orb. And then the previous room, you also can't get an orb. So you need an orb for the next room, because there's a lot of plastic soldiers and snakes to deal with. And just having that orb doubles your firepower and makes it so you can gain as much time as possible. And you don't have that option if you go into the next room without an orb.
CHX with the early orb in Arena 2. He's got to be loving that, Leaf. He is just shredding through these plastic soldiers here in film at 11. Leaf still looking for, Aquas still looking for an orb here. And with any luck, we'll see an orb for Aquas, because the next room does not have one. And that would just add so much to CHX's already pretty significant lead here in Arena 2.
Yeah, I feel so awesome right now because you just called me Aquas. I wish I was as good as Aquas, but I'm not. I'm roughly around the 45 range. So yeah, CHX getting his orb in the previous room is going to help him keep very good control. And
there's
what CHX is doing
for Aquas, a bit late, but late is better than never, Leaf.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like what CHX is doing there is you don't want to collect presents, because the score counter in between Arenas 1 and Arena 2 do add some time to your overall play time. So you want to make sure you don't get as much score as possible. And Aquas getting that orb is very important now, because CHX also had an orb in this room. So there's not going to be any sort of gap closure between these two racers unless one of them drops the orb, or in Aquas's case, the lead will widen for CHX. So want to keep some good play. The most confusing part about this is that these random disc snakes will appear out here. 4 of them, I believe. You want rockets in order to get rid of them very quickly. Otherwise, each individual piece takes about 5 hits per, hit or per position. And CHX, unfortunately, not getting control of the disc snake there, loses his orb. Aquas, meanwhile, still dealing with his stuff over there. Not getting any rockets on either side. So RNG playing bad for both racers.
CHX did get 2 nukes, though, to take care of the first 2 snakes. You'll definitely take a nuke to get rid of a snake in this room. But that third one, just nothing doing for drops there, so that was going to slow him down, take his orb. Aquas without an orb as well here. Should be the last snake for Aquas. And Aqua's going to grab that nukes, just kind of quiet things down in the room. No, there is another snake for Aquas here. Bit of a mistake, picked up the nuke a little too early to use against that snake.
Yeah, CHX getting pretty kind of bailed out nowadays. Like, the game was very bad about the orb RNG in the Arena 1, but Arena 2, he almost loses it and immediately gets it right back. So game playing favorite right now for the favorite person. And again, these turtle chunks, that's a good indication this is another timed room. If you are able to manage your kill count to at least take one out every so shot or whatnot, you will never get to the maximum amount of turtle chunks on the screen at the same time. So not having an orb in the previous room is not as bad, but these are fast. The room that CHX is in right now, an orb is very important, because those plastic soldiers, they already move very fast and herky-jerky like the herka-jerks, but they're about double speed in this room, and it makes it a little harder to get away from them. They are actually faster than your character.
An orb is important in These Are Fast, but it's so hard to keep, because the title of the room doesn't lie, Leaf. Those are fast.
They're very fast, and even if you were to hold up in the corner just to kind of the safe spot in every single room of Smash TV, they also take out the bottom left corner of this room, because there's a little bit of a concession stand or something being built, and they want to limit your movement to deal with these faster plastic soldiers also.
Can't say I ever thought of it as a concession stand, but now that you bring it up, I could go for a beer.
I could definitely go for a beer too. I'll have to grab one after this match, about 30 minutes from now. I'd definitely take a beer.
Grab me one too, buddy.
And CHX.
These are fast at about 12:10, pretty solid time. Aqua's putting the finishing touches on the room here with these spreaders, so Aqua's definitely not out of things yet there.
Yeah, CHX is again in another sort of timed portion of the Buffalo Herd room here. It's not really important what power up you get at the start, as long as you at least get an orb, and then rockets are basically a secondary at that point, because you want the orb again for like 2 projectiles instead of 1. But you want the rockets to take out these snakes very quickly and get the best sound effect in the game. I unfortunately can't hear it, but it's glorious whenever you get 2 of them to line up and hit the rockets through all the pieces of the snakes.
Yeah, CHX actually going to take a nuke there to get rid of some of those snakes. Game giving him nothing in terms of drops right now. Doesn't even have an orb for the Herkajerks yet.
Oh yeah, the orb.
Good use of that invulnerability to run right through everything, though. That was really well played.
So his RNG was
There's
pretty
a
good with
razor
the power
shield.
ups.
Let's give CHX an orb now, game. Give him an orb, or not.
Yeah, he had a good enough luck to get rid of all the snakes in the film canisters before the buffalo herd showed up, and not an orb. So this is when time is going to start being lost for CHX. I guess not, because he gets an orb right at his feet. So good for him. He just needs to keep it. Oh, he went for the rockets, and unfortunately, that risk loses his orb for him once more.
It was there, Leaf, but just really, really tight, like off by a pixel, and that orb was gone. And that unfortunately was the case for CHX. Aquas only with 1 piece of a razor shield left here as the Herkajerks come in on his side, but has an orb and has the orb healthy. Very important here. This is a huge opportunity for Aquas to pull back closer to CHX here in this race.
Yeah. CHX not getting good power ups, but he's also not having an orb. Aquas has an orb, and he's getting pretty good power ups on his side. I imagine we will be within about 10 seconds going into the Scarface fight after this room, because this is just
brilliant
very
rocket
well
for Aquas now. Rocket to rocket, and more rockets.
More rockets, and CHX gets an orb on his side. Unfortunately, that's going to take my prediction away, as Aquas unfortunately loses his. I think he's very close to the end of the room, though, so losing that orb now is not going to be a very big loss for him. But the orb on Scarface isn't as important as it can be. It helps you keep control of the Scarface, because 2 projectiles helps you push him into the corners and stuff faster. Maybe I underestimated.
I think Aquas was a little too conservative with those rockets there. These guys move around so much. You need to fire an extra one at each door. But Aquas is going to get out of the room at 15 flat. We're about a bonus room's length worth of time, 25 seconds separating the 2 racers right now. CHX loses the orb to an aggressive Scarface early, which is unfortunate, but is able to drop an entire lobber clip into him. And another lobber for CHX, so the damage not going to be a problem here for CHX. Just got to knock all them panels off.
So there's a 27 seconds difference between our 2 racers right now. So the gimmick with Scarface is that he's got 16 panels circling around his body, plus he's got his own health bar that you have to knock off with the lobbers. And as soon as you knock off all the little platforms around him, there's 16 of them. You got to knock out 15. Every single thing does 1 damage, but the lobber I think does 15 or something. It does significantly a lot more than any normal pellet damage would do. So you want to get the lobbers to deal the damage to him, and you want everything else to deal damage, preferably a spreader, because it hits 3 projectiles to knock out all these little shields around him. And Aquas is getting lobbers early, as CHX was also getting lobbers early. But this is where all your runs go to die, though, because Scarface is aggressive and he's random, and there's just some moments where you're shooting at him and he'll just keep coming at you, and there's nothing you can do to take it back.
Really good lobber from CHX there, Leaf. He was able to use it, take out the last 3 pieces of the shielding. Scarface's first form hanging on by a thread here for CHX. We should see it switch over anytime. There it is.
So it's actually very difficult to hit Scarface with those lobbers initially. So if you get him into the pattern very quickly, you can deal a lot of damage. But trying to hit him with that first shot is always just a coin flip or something, because it might be 50-50 whether or not. You have to pray that his movement isn't jerky or anything like that. So CHX getting a good lobber on the final form here. I think he's about halfway done with the health himself, but he only has 3 platforms or 3 shields now, because there's now 8 of them, I believe, on the second form of Scarface. You have to knock out all of them before you can kill him. And the one that always is a very tough hit is the top right portion, or the right side of the final form of Scarface. Because for some reason, the hitbox on that one just doesn't work for some reason. There's just moments, and we have no idea why it happens.
Body programming, most likely. Yeah, it looks like all
Shot.
the pieces are gone for CHX now. This lobber should do it for Scarface, assuming he can land the shots and get him pinned. Scarface so aggressive when you pick up a lobber, but there it is, a couple of bank shots that'll take it out, and CHX will be out of Arena 2 at a 17:41. Fantastic time.
Yeah, Aquas is on the final form. Him on his side, I think he's about halfway done with his.
Oh, and Aquas
form.
has him pinned in the corner. This should be
got it.
lights out for his Scarface
Yes,
as well.
it is.
There it is. Aqua's going to gain a little bit of time back. Had an even better Scarface fight than CHX.
Yes, and we got a race here.
Second difference going into Arena 3.
And we can also get a bigger difference here. It just depends who had the lower score on this one. So
Well,
there also could be a little bit of
looking at the prize tally so far, CHX was up at around 400,000. It takes about a second for every 20K worth of money to tick up there. So yeah, a few more seconds back for Aquas there.
Yep.
Picking up less prizes and money throughout Arena 2.
All right, but prizes don't matter anymore because Arena 3, we don't count the score count up. So you can grab as many presents as you want, and there will be no time penalty. But yeah, Aqua's getting a little bit more time back on that one, and there is an orb on CHX's side. The first room, not very important, but it is important just because for the fact you can get an orb, but it'll, in the long run, save you time.
You might as well get the orb worry out of the way early. You don't strictly need an orb in the first two rooms. They're both effectively timed rooms with the way that the scripting works for the enemies coming in there. But you'll never say no to an early orb leaf, never.
Yeah, absolutely. So the timing in this room is that you got to wait for a whole bunch of tanks to come out, and then you're going to get a little bit of a pause. And as you know, you're waiting for that to happen, the snakes will come out from the top portion of the screen, either the two faces on the wall or the door. The snakes just making a hindrance in this most of the arena, not the entire arena, but their whole purpose is to just annoy you and take away your orb and razor shield.
Yeah, pretty much, Leaf, but those snakes being vomited from those little tiki heads, they are in all of the first 6 or 7 rooms in this arena, except for the upcoming bonus room. This second room here, this room will actually run out of the little swarmer dudes before we get to the end. The trigger for this one is the 9 shrapnels that come out really quickly at the end. You can only have 2 on screen at once, so like you ideally want some rockets to polish off the end of this room, but until you get there, you should do exactly what the runners are both doing. Just hide out in that lower left corner. You've got tons of time to get rid of the swarmers.
Yeah, normally we say that the corner is not the strategy to go to. It's a safer strategy because you want to stay in the middle to keep your kill count up as much as possible. But just because due to the timing of the room and stuff, the corner is not a bad play for this one. So as you can see, CHX has actually ran to that moment on his side. So he's just waiting for the shrapnels to show up after a little bit of time passes. So on Aquas' side,
and CHX has his rockets just in time for the shrapnels. He's going to be out of here so fast. Grab the nuke just for good measure, and that'll do it for for that room. Well played by CHX as he goes into the bonus room. Turtle chunks needed.
Which is another indication, just because turtle chunks usually time
Late
room.
rockets for Aquas had to take out the first couple shrappies without them, but late is better than never, so Aquas right behind CHX here.
Yeah, Arena 3 is just very difficult in a grind as well. Like your runs, like we talk about the RNG with the Scarface fight. The Scarface can ruin every single one of your runs due to RNG. This one is just more of a matter of attrition because it's a very long arena. Like it's double both of the Arena 1 and 2 combined. It's just 30. It could take about 20 minutes for you to get through Arena 3, but it will take you about half the run just to get through the first 2 arenas. So put them together, that's Arena 3, and up the respawn rate of all the enemies.
Well, Arena 3 is longer than the first 2 arenas combined. There's a room later in Arena 3 that's as long as the first arena by itself.
Yeah, but I was getting my words and stuff mixed up. Yeah, it's combined the 2 arenas into Arena 3. That's how long it is. But what's more annoying, though, is just the fact that you have to deal with these snakes, because we're tired of these snakes in this arena. I can't say the other words because it's the family-friendly stream.
I have no idea what you're talking about anymore, Leaf. But CHX has indeed entered the worst room in the entire game. Hooray.
Well, we talked about beer. I might be already indulging a little bit.
I see.
Yeah, so CHX again is in another timed portion of a room because, as with the previous edition of this same exact room, we start with disc snakes, and disc snakes are, not going to come out at a very rapid rate, but you're just waiting for the real show to begin in this room. I think I've seen this before. What was that again? We start with disc snakes and maybe a little bit of a buffalo herd, and yeah, we like our herkajerks a little bit because that's what's coming up in this room, and it's by far the worst room in the entire game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just no real estate, no matter what you do. The best drop you see in this room: nuke everything.
Yeah, it's like rockets are also a good alternative, and maybe get a razor shield as well. But because the snakes are just also kind of going with the herkajerks, they rip away at the razor shield just rather quickly. And if you can chain like multiple razor shields together, you can get a lot of good portion of the room, dealt with that. And unfortunately, CHX, gripping or getting a little too close to the herkajerks with his orb there, loses it. And Aquas still kind of being aggressive
Razor
in the middle.
shield, that's a premium drop in this room. Won't last very long, but you can take advantage of it to hold the middle for a bit. Aquas somehow lost an orb there. I have no idea how.
Through his razor shield, someone got through and took his orb out. So now advantage to CHX. He has an orb on his side as well. But Aquas is still getting very aggressively, holding the middle down. I think he might know he's behind, but I don't know. It depends. Like, both racers are probably on good pace right now. I don't know. It's like what both of these racers are thinking. They're just trying to get a good run, maybe a PB.
Yeah, absolutely. This is quite the show that they've put on so far here, neck and neck deep at the start of Arena 3, I should say. We're not that deep into Arena 3 just yet. But there's another razor shield for Aquas, and you can see how, rather than just allow the shield to break in the center of the room, Aquas actively trying to move away from the funnel of snakes coming from the top. Keep that razor shield alive just a little bit longer. Squeeze out every little bit of it that you can.
And there's another razor shield for CHX, and I'd say he lost his orb about 30 seconds ago, but he is at the end of this room. Aqua's still on his side. Witness Total Carnage. What's so Witness Total Carnage about this one? Is it just the fact that there's so many mines that are also just, put in the corners of the room, make it a little harder for you to maneuver?
It's basically the same as the previous room, except you have much less threatening swarmers whenever they show up. And welcome, Raiders. This is GG Speedruns. We are currently in the middle of the semi-final game here between CHX on your left, Aquas on your right. This one will determine who moves on to the grand final, which will take place sometime next week. The loser will move on to a bronze medal game next, also due for the docket next week. Thanks for joining us. Sit back, enjoy the show.
And on that note, the upcoming match that will determine the competitor for the winner of this match is going to be happening on Sunday at, I believe, I keep forgetting the time, about 4 Eastern, 5 Eastern? Sunday. Yes, absolutely. But we're going to have our winners determined on Sunday when Brysoff plays against Oopla to determine who will go to the grand finals. You won't want to miss that one. It's also a very early stream as Oopla is in Europe and he needs to have his rest at a very decent hour.
Swarmers in for CHX now. As you can see, the Smash TV arena budget seems to have run out about now because they're back to just the lowly bat criminals that you saw in the very first arena, and that's pretty much all you're going to see for Swarmers the rest of the way through the game.
Very dicey grab there for Aquas. He had an orb that was kind of placed directly on top of a mine. We call that a leaf mine if you do that at the end of a room, but not that case. That was a very gutsy grab. He was able to get the orb, and he's kind of getting a little overwhelmed on his side, so he is kind of sticking to the corner to keep his life and keep the orb intact.
It's because all the snakes keep coming out of the dude on the right.
The snakes
are RNG which side those snakes come out on. Aquas needs a break. Aquas needs something to come out on the left so that he can reclaim the middle here. CHX done with the room and is going to move on to the next.
Yeah, on top of being in the corner, just kind of pinning it a safe one. But the other the other part that's kind of bad about the corner is that you limit your chance to grab any sort of drop that might be on the other side. So if you're going for like rockets or something, you want to hope that they're near you, but with you limiting your movement because of that, you kind of unfortunately have to not pick up anything. And that's what Aquas has kind of been doing right now. He was pinned in the corner and he was just using his pea shooter. So just based on that assumption, he might lose some time in this room.
Yeah, it's still going on for him, Leaf, as CHX making good headway into secret rooms nearby. Rockets into more rockets is exactly what you want at the early onset of this room. There's going to be a good amount of them purple snakes coming in and out for the first about minute or so you spend in this room. And you want the heavy weaponry to take care of them right away so you can focus on the swarmers and get the room over with quickly.
And if you were tired of those snakes, well, awesome. There will be no more of them in this run, because once you get to this room, all you deal with are the disc snakes, and that's it. The snakes that come out of the top portion of the screen are gone, and that's very welcoming for anybody who wants to grind this category, because you only got to really practice half of it to deal with them.
CHX Bob, when he should have weaved, takes a small death there, but still got a pretty comfortable lead here against Aquas now. Just really good play here so far through Arena 3 for CHX. Aquas does have an orb, though. A little bit of a dicey moment here as he tries to maneuver to the center with those rockets. He's going to have to pull away because the purple snakes are still coming in and not enough firepower to take care of them. CHX is into the bonus room, and now it is time for everyone's favorite game show within a game show. Will CHX die to the left snake, the right snake, both, or neither?
With CHX, I'm going to have to say neither. I think he will do a flawless fight.
That's a very bold prediction, Leaf. We'll see if that holds true.
Watch him get diced right immediately.
It can totally happen. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. If the Cobras decide you die the moment you enter the room, there is nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the right snake really wanted to do that, but he held up as soon as he got about halfway towards CHX on that one.
More rockets here for Aquas. Purple snake's long gone here. And Nuke there, brilliant timing. Get rid of that swirl. Don't even risk that taking up your real estate and losing that orb. And the room finished up for Aquas here. Aqua's going to hop into the bonus room as CHX continues to pound away at these Cobras here with the orb.
Yeah, unfortunately,
up there for that spreader. That'll boost the damage a little bit. Spreader not a great weapon against this boss. What you really want is grenades.
Yeah, you want the grenades because it's a faster rate than everything else in the room, and all about just getting them. Oh, was that the right snake that zapped him?
That was the right snake. Sigma Fan is your winner.
So what you want in this room is you want invulnerability with the little chain with a grenade. You want anything, because I believe everything in this
grab from CHX there. That is so hard to pick up whenever it's basically right on the hole that the snakes come out of.
I believe everything in this room does 1 damage to each snake, and both snakes have the same life bar, so when you're hitting one, you're hitting both. Another zap from the left snake on CHX's side. You want the grenades because you're hitting a lot more projectiles in a very short span. The DPS is a little higher. What you don't want is the rockets. The rockets, unfortunately, being like the best weapon in arena play, not so much for boss plays, is the same in this room, is the weakest weapon and does the least amount of damage over time. So what you don't want is that. But
Leaf, I gotta send you a damage chart for this game because you haven't been right about a single number you put out today.
Oh, really? Well, dang, I guess I should probably not run this category. I do run it, but not much. I do have the damage chart for the Mutoid fight. I don't know if that's the same for any other fight except for the Evil MC.
Every boss is different.
So CHX is in the second to final room. It's not another long trek room. It's another timed room just because of the film canisters and turtle chunks. Because again, a very common thing with the turtle chunks is that it's usually a timed room with the set number that pop up at whatever rate. As long as you don't take a death and just keep the kill count up for those, you will never run to the point where the room maxes out.
Snakes are down for Aquas as well, but CHX almost has the lead up to a full minute now. This ain't going to be a room where Aquas can gain time. Because as Leaf just mentioned, this room is effectively on a timer. You'll see both of our runners here, once they get rid of these initial film canisters, they're probably just going to chill in the lower left-hand corner of the room for about a minute, minute and a half, until the room runs out of tanks and trappies. Then they'll play cleanup, and then we'll move on to the room which we alluded to earlier, which is longer than Arena 1 sometimes.
So I like what Aquas is doing there. He was doing a little aggressive in the middle. That's not really necessary when it comes to this room. So CHX been playing it safe since he's had that orb. Been sitting in the bottom left corner for most of the room. So that's not really a bad thing to do in this one, just because it's a timed room.
Yeah, absolutely. Take the break because it's the last one you're going to get. The next room is an absolute marathon, and after that is the evil MC, the final boss.
So I do feel like I have to say it, but I don't think a continue has been used by either racers, so this is not going to come into play. But once you reach the Cobra, I think they're called Die Cobra fight. We just call them the Twin Snakes. There's no more lives that appear in the run, but both contestants have not used a single continue so far. I don't think that's ever going to come into play for this match, but just worth noting.
Absolutely not, Leaf. It would be a catastrophe if either of them died 25 or more times to actually have a game over at this point.
That would just be an absolute implosion. I think that would just
that would be the Falcons 28 to 3 equivalent in Smash TV. So I don't think we're gonna see that.
Could just be Detroit all last season. But CHX, when he entered this room, he said he had enough keys. So throughout this entire run, he had gotten 10 keys, and he can go to the Pleasure Dome after this room if he goes to the bottom door. But in a speed run, that takes up time, and we do not want that. So if you're going for a high score run, if you want to be on Twin Galaxies, or in this case, try to beat Bryce off, you can do that. But in a speed run, no Pleasure Dome.
No Pleasure Dome, only Krav Kalash. CHX holding the center really well here early on, and these rockets will definitely help with that. Just good. You can see that it looks like he might be getting a little overwhelmed, but the dance is just immaculate. He's always moving the orb out of harm's way as the swarmers get close. Just really great play here from CHX.
So Aquas going into the final room as well. He said not enough keys. So I think the luck, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, the luck was a little bit better for Aquas as he didn't get the keys throughout the run. But as far as who's got the lead, though, CHX just playing a little bit better at this point. But this is called the 10,000 plastic, or 10,000 plastic soldier. Yeah, that room, the 10,000 foot soldiers room, and that is exactly what it sounds like. There are 10,000 foot soldiers that'll spawn in this room. You have to kill each and every one of them, and we call it the 5-minute room. But if you have very bad luck, it can go over 6 minutes, 7 minutes. If you have very good luck, a 4-minute time is also very possible. It just depends what kind of drops you get. And razor shields, for some reason, are very limited in this room for some. I don't know why, but that's what everybody else says, and that's what I've experienced when I have played. It doesn't pop up very often.
Not as often as you would like, that's for sure, Leaf. Surprise swirls in there for CHX, and he deals with them expertly. And there's a razor shield. CHX set up pretty in the middle here for some time. Aquas still doing quite well there. Razor shield gone on Aquas' side, but maybe we'll get another one. Made good use of the nuke to clear things out and just hold that middle. Surprise swirls will be coming for Aquas in about 20 seconds or so. So we'll see if Aquas is ready for those.
And just in general, we also talk about how the nuke, there's another razor shield for CHX, so Rich getting richer in his game for that. We want to use nukes as little as possible during the run, because I believe that you do get better kill potential if you don't use a nuke when you have an orb. But in Arena 3, the spawn rate is so intense, a nuke might actually be about the same amount of time as just killing all the foot soldiers.
In terms of like task play, it'd be faster without a nuke, but a human's not going to be able to react that quickly, going to guess the doors that guys are coming out. You're always going to have so many guys on screen that it's always worth to pick a nuke up in most Arena 3 rooms.
Now, I believe there was some person who had a task just kind of on the back burner. Who was that again, Jack? I mean, didn't we have a display of that during the tournament last year for Easy Percent?
We did indeed, Leaf, and unfortunately the normal run is lost to the ether as a hard drive failure occurred.
Oh, yeah, Jacquemus was making a task, and unfortunately, that unfortunate circumstance prevented it from ever being finished. Are you gonna pick it back up though?
I
Maybe.
finished it. I finished it, but I only showed it a couple times, and before I could actually capture a video of said task, the hard drive wiped. So there's about 200 hours of work down the drain.
Boo. Yeah, this is a long run too, and the task work. I've done a couple tasks in my respective games as well. That was a very long grind, a lot of hours of work just to get the perfect run. There's things you learn from doing a task run, and I believe you learned everything there is to know about Smash TV making that task. So sometimes the information you find from a task is very useful when it comes to routing the game itself.
Room should be getting close to finished for CHX here now. This is the end of the room. CHX will be entering the final boss fight at 38:22. Final boss, of course, the evil MC. Not too different from the first boss, Mutoid Man, but moves considerably faster, is more aggressive, and has more overall health.
And again, with the evil
spreader for CHX, and he's able to make use of it. And there's one arm down already for CHX. Grenades to take care of the turrets. Very strong opening here for CHX against the final boss.
So as with the Mutoid Man, the evil MC is pretty much the exact same as the Mutoid Man as far as damage numbers, hit placements. But the only difference is that he has a little more health and he is a little more aggressive than the Mutoid Man. But the spreader exploit and the top portion of his hitbox, if you hit him in sort of the neck area on the top of his sprite, that also does double damage. That's the same as the Mutoid Man. So this is almost carbon copy, just a little tougher. It's like Nick Bruiser and Rick Bruiser in Super Punch-Out as far as difficulty.
That's an interesting analogy. I don't think I agree with it, but we'd be getting incredibly off topic there.
Yes, we are.
Over for Aquas. Aquas going to enter at a 39:42. So about a minute 20 behind CHX going into the final boss. It's about it's a 3-form lead right now for CHX as Aquas gets underway here. Will the drops line up for Aquas to mount a heroic comeback, or is CHX gonna move on to the final? We'll find out very soon. Hold on
Aquas.
to the edge of your seat, folks. This is gonna be a good finish here, I think.
Yeah, Aquas nailing the ball buster at the top of Evil MC there. So he takes about a quarter form of damage, a third of form of damage. I believe there was a percentage, but I don't want to use any more numbers because I don't know them.
Exactly. There's a beautiful player 2 spreader for Aquas. Aquas needs that to try to get back in this thing. Head is popped for CHX. Second arm gone for Aquas. Spreader for CHX. He's gonna make it there. This might be it.
Holy cow, we got a glitch.
Huge amount of transfer damage there. We got a glitched
evil
glitched
MC.
Glitched MC
glitched
for Aquas.
MC on
That's
Aquas'
incredible.
And an absolute very good finish for CHX. Unfortunately, put this one away for him. He is going to move on to the grand finals. And as GG Speedruns is saying in the commentary or the comments section, it's a sub 42 for CHX. A very, very respective time for tournament play here on normal percent for Smash TV. Very good. Aquas not too far behind. He kept it close. Just unfortunately, things lined up for CHX for spreaders. Put this one away for him. GG's to CHX.
This is just showing you how close things are getting at the top. Aquas, unless the drops dry up, is going to get a sub 43 and lose. That hasn't happened in the normal league yet.
Not yet, but these matches between CHX and Aquas are usually very close, though. That even in the easy percent tourney as well, just very close stuff between these two very good racers, very good runners. So. Where CHX now goes is the finals. He's going to await the winner of Brysoff against Upla, happening on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That is a guaranteed, I think, time is set in stone, 3 p.m. Eastern. Aquas going down to the fourth place match, awaiting the loser of that match. And the prize, I have to look that one up. I will come back with you on that one.
Well, stay tuned here to GG Speedruns, folks. We do have the other semifinal occurring this Sunday at, I believe, 3 p.m. Eastern. We can confirm that momentarily, perhaps. And that will determine who goes on to face CHX in the final. Will it be Brysolf? Will it be Oopla? We'll find out on Sunday. The loser will face Aquas in the bronze medal game. Both of those final games will be coming your way next week. Make sure that you are following our runners if you aren't already. And thank you for tuning in to GG Speedruns. And as always, let's go Bruins!
So the time is officially at 4 p.m. Eastern on Sunday against for Brysolf versus Oopla on that one. The match for third place and fourth place. Third place is going to take away $50, and the loser of that one is going to take $30 for fourth place finish. So that's what's on the line for the match down there. For first place, second place. First place is a $200 prize plus a $75 in-store credit to CHX's video game controller store or merchandise in store, and second place takes away $80 for the second place finish on that one. So I believe Jackimus already gave the final farewell for this one. That's going to wrap it up here on GG Speedruns for today's coverage. We want to, thank you for joining us for this one. If you haven't dropped a follow already on GG Speedruns, be sure to do that now. The official home for Smash TV. We cannot be happier with this, with our home here at GG Speedruns. Mr. Dino Krelos doing a very good job behind the scenes to make this a very, very welcoming channel to do all this content for you, and very loving audience as well. We very, very, very greatly appreciate you guys tuning in for us as always, and want to, sorry guys, want to thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your day, evening, afternoon, whatever it may be, and we will see you on Sunday when Brysolf and Oopla kick it off for their semifinal match at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then. Have a great day.
Big money, big prizes. I love it. Big money.